Hi guys. In this video, I want to take you through what it's like to study on the MSc Music Industries here at the University of Glasgow. My name is Matt Brennan. I'm a professor of popular music here within the College of Arts and Humanities. So what's it like to study on this degree? First, the program opens opportunities to enter and develop your career or business in the music or related media and creative industries. The program will provide you with experience of the music industries and access to music industry personnel via a range of assessments, including reports, podcasts, video essays, and your dissertation. It will provide you with critical methods of evaluating music industry research produced by different stakeholders. That could be academic research, lobbying groups, and policymakers on both a local and a global level. And then it will provide you with knowledge of the key theoretical, historical, and methodological debates in music industries and popular music research. So what are your courses like over the course of the year? You have four core courses. The first is popular music research, and that's really an introduction to popular music studies. So we consider questions like, who are music creators in the 21st century? Who are audiences? How do we understand different demographics who listen to and participate in music? How do you make a living out of music? What are the challenges to doing so? How might we divide up the music industries into different components? What is the role of taste or genre or different moods and functions and ways in which we might consume music in terms of trying to make a living and monetizing musical labor? The next course is popular music history, which is a overview of key events and developments in the music industries over the past century. We find that this is a really useful way of thinking about actually how music operates in the 2020s. Because if you think about the music industry, you might think, oh, this is a really fast pace of change in the sector due to all kinds of technological disruption, when in fact, the music industries have always been disrupted by new technologies, new laws, new changes in geopolitics. And there are certain constants that have repeated themselves throughout history when it comes to trying to make a living out of music. So if you have a good sense of the history of the music industries, then it's actually very useful for you to take a look at the challenges in working in music in the 21st century and think, okay, some of these challenges are genuinely new, and some of them are actually quite old and are part of a longer historical cycle. And that helps us navigate those challenges a bit easier. Then you have a course on the global music industries. This really breaks down the industries into all the different categories and ways out of creating revenue from musical work, but it also does so knowing that this doesn't work exactly the same way in all countries. So we examine what that looks like in the UK and the USA because of their influence on global markets, but also we look at other case study countries as well to see how music sectors might operate a little bit differently in other national contexts. And we do a similar sort of thing in the fourth compulsory course, which is music cities. So it's really great to be teaching the music industries in the city of Glasgow, which is this fabulous music city, internationally recognized as such. And music cities themselves are a really important policy concept that have only gained increasing importance in the last 10 years or so, as city governments try to make the most of the music scenes in their respective locations to make sure that it's their cities are great places to work in music, but also for citizens to participate in music and get something out of the cultural life of a city. So we look at that in relation to Glasgow, but also other music cities around the world on that course. You then have two elective options. We'd recommend that you take popular music politics as a course, but you have other options as well, including field recording, sound and place, current issues in musicology, or quite a range of other courses that are available across the College of Arts and Humanities that vary from year to year. That's the taught coursework for your 2 semesters here. And then over the summertime, you would progress to a music industries dissertation, where you would be paired up with a supervisor, depending on what topic you wanted to pursue independently to produce a piece of your own research to contribute to the sum of all human knowledge on the music industries. So that's where hopefully you take all your training for those first few semesters and create something of your own. So why choose this program? Well, first, our approach is multidisciplinary. We bring sociology, cultural studies, musicology, and politics perspectives to studying the music industries. You would be studying in the city of Glasgow, which has a vibrant and exciting music scene. It was the UK's first UNESCO City of Music, the first to be recognized as such by UNESCO. It's an unbeatable location for the program. I personally moved from Canada all the way over to Scotland many years ago now because I was attracted to the music reputation of Glasgow and Scotland more broadly. And it was so good, I just stayed. So that's an endorsement right there. Other reasons to choose this program: the city has an excellent range of music venues, genres, and styles and scenes that are happening. It's a really vibrant and diverse music scene here. We have a wide range of music businesses and organizations in the city. And as students, you'll have access to certain university resources, including study spaces, practice rooms, the audio lab in the music department. We have a few recording studios, including a sort of traditional recording studio, plus an ambisonic studio, and also the university's concert hall as a performance space. You're going to have the opportunity as well to contribute to the Glasgow Music City website, which is created and maintained by students and staff from the music industries program. And if you're looking for a kind of general introduction to the city of Glasgow, including a map of all of its venues, a directory of the key music businesses and organizations in the cities, and then blog posts about what it's like to try and carve out a life in music here, then you can go to www.glasgowmusiccity.com and find all of those things on that website, and also get a sense of, the fact that you as a student would be contributing to the creation of content on that website during your time on the music industry's degree. In terms of career paths and opportunities for graduates, a lot of people go on to work in music and creative industries organizations all over the world, as well as local music organizations within the UK, self-employed and freelance work, and further study at PhD level. So for instance, some previous graduates from our degree now work in a range of roles across the music and media industries, including for Sony Music Germany, PRS and ICE services, BBC Studios, WMA, and Channel 4. More locally, graduates work for Glasgow businesses including Soma Recordings, the Scottish Music Industry Association, 432 Presents, and PCL, which are concert promoters here in the city, and Last Night from Glasgow, which is a record label in the city. Others have continued in academia to PhD level and gone on to hold posts at the University of Glasgow and the University of the West of Scotland in both cultural policy and music, while many others are self-employed or freelance artists, educators, and music entrepreneurs. So, if you're interested, you can apply by going to the program webpage on the University of Glasgow website, and it's there that you can view up-to-date information, including entry requirements, information on scholarships, as well as a link to our online application form. So you have the URL to our program just on the screen there, but of course you can also just use your preferred search engine to type in Glasgow MSc Music Industries, and that should give you a link to the website as well. So thanks very much for listening. Please do join us and follow the university on social media and listen to our podcast to get a sense of what it's like to study at Glasgow more broadly. And I hope to see you all in September. Bye for now.
Okay, hello everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. I'm joined here by Professor Matt Brennan now. If you have any questions for him about the programme, please post them in the chat. We're going to be here for the next few minutes. So you've already got some people joining us from Rwanda. Hello to you. Matt, whilst we're waiting for some questions to come in, you've covered a lot in that presentation there, but can you give us a bit of an overview of what it's like to be in Glasgow as someone who wants to make music and wants to work in music?
Yeah, sure. I think
the wonderful thing about Glasgow for me, and for many musicians who live and work here, it may not sound like it from my accent, but I've actually lived in Scotland for over 20 years. And, one of the reasons why I stayed is that it's an extremely friendly city. And it's also, in the music scene in particular, a really supportive environment, I would say. And there's kind of wide agreement on that. In contrast to, say a larger city like London, you'll absolutely find, larger music organizations and companies in a major city like London or New York. But the difference with Glasgow is that it's a big enough city that whatever sort of music you're interested in, you will find a scene that kind of aligns with that interest. So, you could be into noise or hip hop or electronic dance music or folk or whatever. Those scenes all exist here. It's a big enough city that it has that capacity where you won't be alone in your interests. But it's small enough that if you spend a year here, it's quite likely you'll get to know all the key players in that scene. And because it's small, I think that and having lived in larger cities myself as well, there's a sense that in a larger city, there's a more kind of competitive atmosphere, whereas almost by necessity, in a city of the size of Glasgow, there's a more supportive atmosphere, because in order to make the scene work, you kind of need to help one another. And also, if you're a jerk, then people will, you'll have that reputation and you won't do well in the city. So I'd say for that reason, it's, for my money anyway, it's perfectly sized for carving out a niche in music, or indeed art and culture for that matter.
Fantastic. And just to build a bit on that, you mentioned the Glasgow Music City website in the presentation, and obviously talking about the themes just there. Can you tell us a little bit more about that and how students can get involved, just in case anyone's joining us a little bit late?
Sorry, in terms of the presentation, how students can get involved?
Yes, so with the Glasgow Music City.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Sorry. So yeah, the Glasgow Music City website is kind of embedded into the degree. It's actually something that we developed during lockdown, during COVID, so around 4 or 5 years ago. And that was because, at that point, unfortunately, people couldn't leave their houses. And so we wanted a kind of online space that was not just, writing an essay and then sending it in to be read by your marker and no one else. We wanted student work to have the opportunity to become public facing and to have a kind of function outside and beyond the degree. And so the website has kind of flourished as a result of that, where students can, do work on their courses. But if that work reaches a certain standard, then it becomes this kind of publicly accessible document. And that includes, for instance, we have a Canadian singer-songwriter who's on the degree this year. And one thing that they felt would have helped them, prior to joining, was to learn more about the open mic scene in the city. So they wrote a blog detailing, okay, like here are all the open mics in 2024-25 that you would need to know if you're someone with a guitar who writes original music. And we'll post that onto the Music City website as a resource, maybe for, not just for prospective students on the degree, but for anyone who's moving to the city who might want to know about, opportunities to play. So we try and design the degree in that respect. And similarly, say on the Music Cities course right now, we have a component where in the seminar, you can already access on that website a pretty comprehensive map of all of the venues for live music, and you can filter them by type or by capacity. But in this very semester, the students who are currently on the degree are expanding that map. And so they're adding all of the record labels, all of the rehearsal rooms, all of the charities, and trying to flesh out that map. So we hope that by next year, we'll have a very comprehensive map, not just of spaces to play, but like all kinds of different music organizations. And then we're collaborating with other universities. So the step beyond that, it sort of depends on how this year goes. I can't quite predict the future, but the vision for this is that we're working with other universities who are mapping their own cities. Liverpool, for instance, has a really interesting map of its music organizations, and we're collaborating with them so we can compare what music scenes in different cities around the world are like. And at the moment, I think there are like a network of maybe 30 cities who are doing this mapping work. So, if you're coming from, another country and you're thinking about like, well, that doesn't exist in my own city, we can sort of plug you into this wider network of folk who are trying to do similar work in different countries, in cities around the world. So I think that's also part of what makes, studying at a place like Glasgow Uni quite distinctive, because your teachers are also very active researchers, and Glasgow as a uni is a very active research university. So, we're not trying to, teach you what music was like, working in music 10, 20 years ago. We're really like stuck in trying to figure out its present and its future. And we have contacts with other people doing the same around the world. So I think that, and we embed that into our teaching as much as possible. So hopefully that's a kind of distinctive element to the degree.
Fantastic, thank you. We've only got a couple more minutes left, so if any of you have got further questions, please drop them in the chat now. We've got a question from Harriet. Thank you, Harriet, for this one. Harriet asks, is the course suited to other genres of music, specifically traditional?
Yeah, so I would say that the degree is flexible in terms of genre. Absolutely, there's a super strong trad music scene in Glasgow. Yeah, I don't know where you're based right now, Harriet, but if you know Scotland, then you'll know that in January there's a major traditional music festival that happens called Celtic Connections, and it's on the world map for traditional music. So traditional folk musicians from all over the world come to Glasgow in those weeks in January to perform, and there are folks from industry who are doing the same. It's a place for bookers as well, so it's not just a place where audiences can go and see all these performers from all over the world. During the daytime, there are also scouts who are looking to book tours in that trad music scene, and not just in Scotland, but they'll come in from other countries because it's such a good representation of where trad is at that moment. And so we could also plug you into to different trad music circles. There's a huge amount of activity, and as I say, like Glasgow's big enough where that's vibrant, it exists, and small enough where we could make an introduction for you to someone who's maybe working in that scene who would be a more expert guide. I'm not a trad musician myself, but having said that, I know that 60 seconds from my apartment, there's a weekly trad music session that happens in the local bar. And it also depends what you mean by trad, actually, because although I don't play traditional Celtic music, I do play old time Appalachian Americana music. And so I've got a fiddle player contact, a banjo player contact, and a mandolin player contact that I could send you to ask, okay, like for those instruments, where do you find opportunities to play, to make music? So it sort of works like that, hopefully. We try to cater to all styles and interests.
Brilliant. Hope that answered your question, Harriet. Oh, pipe band music. That's something we can...
Well, there's the National Piping Center in Glasgow, so absolutely we can help plug you into that. Yeah. Yeah, piping music is I mean, Glasgow is the place for that. You probably know that already if you're into piping music. So,
okay. Well, I don't think we have any further questions. So I've got one final question for you, Matt, and then I'll round things off. And that is, if anyone watching either now or on catch up has any extra questions for you, how can they get in touch with you?
You can get in touch with me directly via my email, which is matt.brennan@glasgow.ac.uk. So feel free to shoot me an email. And I will say I do receive quite a lot of emails. So if you haven't heard from me in 3 or 4 days, just shoot me a follow-up email. It's not that I'm ignoring you. It's just uni staff these days get quite a lot in their inbox. So please do just give me a nudge, and I'll do my very best to answer any questions you have.
Fab. Thank you very much. Well, we'll see you all for the next chat, and Matt, I think we'll see you for a live Q&A in the future, so everybody watch out for that. And all I can say is thank you very much for joining us. Bye all.